juga jangan lupa acara untuk hari ini. Kita di pertandingan kedua akan ada G2
series karena Sentinels ternyata membuktikan kalau mereka untuk yang ban Heaven-nya Sentinels sih karena mereka nggak ngeban dan akibatnya itu udah free pick banget buat Sentinels dan kelihatan Heaven dari Sentinels itu begitu kuat. Jadi Sentinels tentunya buat teman-teman yang gue yakin kayaknya siapa sih yang nggak kenal Sentinels. Tapi buat teman-teman yang mungkin baru aja bergabung, Sentinels isinya siapa aja sih? Ini dia isinya Sentinels. Tentunya diisi oleh Shazam, Seek, Zoms, Dapper, dan juga Tens. Semua pemain yang menurut gue selalu konsisten di setiap performance-nya.
Ya, permainan mereka yang benar-benar sebenarnya selalu backup satu sama lain. Jadi dengan bait and sebenarnya yang gue perhatiin dari Sentinels adalah dari segi strategi kayak nggak ada yang terlalu rumit. Mereka benar-benar mengandalkan bait and switch dan juga chemistry yang bagus dan pastinya main highlight dari Sentinel sendiri adalah Tens dengan KD yang begitu besar yaitu 1,9, 19,4 kills, 14,6 deaths, 5,1 assist dan juga 18,5 headshot percentage. Tapi selain dari statistik ini tentunya teman-teman semua mungkin penggiat Valorant di rumah tentunya udah sering menonton pertandingan dari Sentinels dan menonton performa dari Tens sendiri yang selalu memukau. Dan menurut gue Tens adalah salah satu pemain yang sangat-sangat konsisten yang dimiliki oleh Sentinel. Memang kelima pemain dari Sentinel itu konsisten, tapi lu pernah gak sih ngelihat Tensnya Bun? Gak pernah kan, jadi emang sekonsisten itu Tens dari Sentinel sendiri. Dan sebenarnya pertemuan kembali antara kedua tim ini dari G2 dan juga Sentinel ini cukup menarik karena lagi-lagi menurut gue dari Sentinel itu maple mereka banyak banget. Jadi selain Heaven mereka juga kuat banget di split. Tapi sebelum kita membahas lebih jauh lagi antara match up dari kedua tim ini, ada baiknya kita akan menonton terlebih dahulu video profile dari tim Sentinels. Ini dia.
My name's Shazam, and I play for Team Sentinels. Yeah, we feel pretty confident. My name's Shazam, and it feels like international stage, and now like coming in, like we know we're top dogs, so it's a lot more comfortable feeling knowing like some teams weren't as unknown before as they are now. Outside of NA, I think the strongest region's the EU. You know, I watch a lot of the EU region. I think the team's really strong, but I'm still interested in seeing like Korea. I think their region is strong. We just matched up really well against their playstyle. We can't underestimate anyone. Teams went through roster changes. They got a better idea of like how they want to look. Also, just like a better understanding of how we play, since all eyes are on us. We've added like another layer to our gameplay where we won't hopefully be as easy to read, and you know teams can't necessarily expect what we're gonna do.
Chance can't access his abilities, but he has the ability to shoot the classic, and he's shooting the classic, and everyone dies.
I definitely think we're the closest team by far. You know, we're not just coworkers or teammates. Like, we're really good friends. I think that plays a huge role in why we play so well together is like that like trust and like people fulfilling their roles if they have to. Yeah, my favorite memory from my VCT career is definitely winning Iceland. It's just crazy to win like the first international tournament. There's like no way to describe that feeling. That's definitely by far like a memory I'll hold forever, I'm sure. The like insane amount of like growth with our fan base, like it definitely motivates us. And there's a lot of people like counting on us and like rooting for us. And like the biggest thing is that we don't want to let them down. So like no matter what, like even if we're qualified for champions, like Harry Masters, like we don't want to let them down. We want like our fans to know, like you know, they're rooting for the best team. Like we got them. I know all eyes are on us. I still think NA is the strongest region, even though EU teams are gunning for us. I mean, I feel like the pressure's on you guys. You know what we're capable of, and don't underestimate us.
Yes, dan itulah dia Sentinels yang bisa dibilang sekarang adalah rajanya Valorant di dunia. Mereka waktu di Masters Reykjavik banyak banget yang ngeraguin mereka karena lagi-lagi mereka belum ngebuktiin apapun di Masters Reykjavik. Tapi masuk ke Masters Berlin, semua ekspektasi ada di pundak mereka sebagai tim yang paling kuat di Masters Reykjavik. Nggak ngedrop satu map pun sepanjang turnamen, tapi masuk ke Masters Berlin. Mereka terus melanjutkan rekor itu. Walaupun kemarin sempat kecolongan sama G2, tapi mereka langsung comeback di map ketiga dan ngasih G2 sama sekali kesempatan untuk bisa memenangkan map ketiga. Jadi cukup menarik untuk kita lihat G2 akan kembali berhadapan dengan Sentinels. G2 sendiri sebenarnya bukan tim yang buruk, mereka kemarin berhasil memberikan perlawanan, tapi lagi-lagi Sentinels menurut gue udah terlalu kuat. G2 harus bener-bener main bagus banget, bukan berarti Sentinels nggak bisa dikalahin. Menurut gua match up yang akan sangat menarik adalah kalau Sentinels ketemu Vision Strikers karena dua playstyle yang begitu berbeda. Lu lihat sendiri bagaimana utility usage dari Vision Strikers dibandingkan dengan tim dari barat yaitu Eropa dan juga Amerika yang begitu efektif dan juga efisien, berbanding terbalik dengan penggunaan utility yang mungkin seperlunya tapi di backup dengan individual skill yang sangat luar biasa dari pemain-pemainnya. Jadi menurut gua kalau memang ada match up terbaik, menurut gua match up itu adalah Vision Strikers ketemu Sentinels. Tapi sebelum mereka bakal ketemu, Sentinels harus menangin dulu pertandingan ini karena G2 tentunya ingin membalas dendam mereka setelah kemarin dikalahkan 2-1.
Iya, jadi ini kayak laga revenge gak sih antara G2 dan juga Sentinel sendiri. Karena sebenarnya kemarin dari G2 mereka nggak dibantai loh sama Sentinel. Karena mereka memberikan perlawanan yang benar-benar kuat. Apalagi di Haven itu sebenarnya skornya cukup tipis sih ya, nggak sampai 13-3, 13-5 juga. Kalau nggak salah itu 13-8 dan
Tapi first half-nya 11-1 Bel. Lu kalau
Iya,
nonton
itu yang-
sumpah itu G2 tuh diacak-acak coy. Bener-bener mereka udah kayak aduh ini kita ngapain sih? Itu kayaknya second half-nya juga Sentinels agak ya udah yuk bercanda dulu kali ya. Ternyata kok dia ngegigit balik guys. Kita menangin yuk. Karena itu di first half udah aduh udah 11-1 ini udah susah banget sih. Tapi ya kita lihat aja apakah G2 udah bisa bangkit sih. Karena Sentinels menurut gua udah jadi tim terbaik sih saat ini, untuk saat ini.
ya terlihat sebenarnya gue setuju sih sama lo Son, karena ya kita ngelihat Sentinel sebenarnya approach mereka ke Valorant itu ya simple. Mereka benar-benar memiliki strategi-strategi yang sangat-sangat simple dibandingkan dengan mungkin playbook ataupun set piece yang dimiliki oleh tim-tim Korea ataupun tim-tim Europe yang lebih istilahnya lebih dalam lah atau lebih sulit gitu dan lebih istilahnya lebih apa namanya lebih susah lah untuk dibaca sama tim musuh. Tapi dari Sentinel ya approach mereka lebih kerap dilihatnya tuh kayak oh mereka masuknya ke A main, terus mereka masuknya split ataupun mereka masuknya dari satu arah yang sama. Tapi lagi-lagi karena memang individual skill yang membackup pemain-pemain ini meskipun mereka memiliki approach yang simple tapi dengan individual skill yang bagus, dengan chemistry yang bagus seperti apa yang Shazam bilang tadi di video profile. Mereka bilang mereka di luar game juga teman baik, kita punya chemistry yang bagus, kita juga berteman satu sama lain. Jadi kayaknya bait and switch-nya itu kelihatan hampir sempurna. Jadi selalu bisa kelihatan meskipun satu pemain itu banget tapi refrag-nya jalan terus. Dan ya dengan aim yang sangat kuat ya lu bisa mengandalkan temen lu untuk melakukan refrag. Jadi itu sih sebenarnya yang gue lihat dari Sentinel sendiri. Dan gue gak sabar banget untuk ngelihat match up lagi antara kedua tim ini, antara G2 dan juga Sentinels. Region North America bertemu lagi dengan region EMEA. Apalagi soal map pick Son. Karena ya kemarin gue cukup kaget juga sih kan gue nonton. Gue nggak ke saat itu gue nonton. Dan gue cukup kaget kalau G2 sendiri nggak nge-ban salah satu map terkuat dari Sentinel. Memang Haven mungkin lebih masuk akal. Oke, Haven gak di-ban dari Sentinel, tapi lagi-lagi split. Karena split sendiri adalah respect ban banget yang selalu dikeluarkan di region North America. Tim-tim North America yang bertemu Sentinel selalu nge-ban split kalau misalkan mereka bertemu dengan Sentinels. Dan hal tersebut tidak terlihat dan Sentinels main di dua map yang mereka sangat nyaman yaitu split dan juga Haven.
Ya, karena lagi-lagi kalau misalkan tim menang mulu, ya berarti map pool mereka kuat. Susah juga sih kalau misalkan lu nge-ban split, pasti Sentinel sudah punya apa namanya backup plan lagi. Jadi sekarang pembuktian Sentinel sudah nggak ada hal lagi yang perlu mereka buktikan. Menurut gua sekarang region di luar Amerika yang perlu membuktikan diri mereka lebih bagus dari North America kayak EMEA, Korea dan juga region-region lainnya itu yang harus membuktikan. Sampai sekarang selalu ada perdebatan. Sebelum kita memulai sampai hari ke-6 ini, selalu perdebatannya adalah region mana yang lebih kuat, Eropa atau Amerika. Di hari pertama kita nggak bisa langsung dapat jawaban itu karena masih belum ada ketemu sama sekali dua region ini. Tapi kemarin udah ketemu 100 Thieves ketemu Gambit, tim yang semua orang bilang adalah tim terkuat di Eropa. Berhasil dikalahkan oleh seed nomor 2 dari Amerika yaitu 100 Thieves. Kemarin G2 juga udah sempat ketemu sama Sentinels. Hal yang serupa kalah 2-1. Jadi sekarang skornya nih 2-0 antara NA melawan EMEA. Kita nggak tahu apakah G2 bisa membalaskan dendam. Karena jelas kalau misalkan EMEA bisa ngegigit balik region NA, menurut gua akan jauh lebih menarik storytellingnya. Karena jelas masuk ke Masters Berlin, semua mata tertuju ke Sentinels. Apakah mereka bisa mempertahankan tahta itu. Karena di dunia FPS, selalu roda itu berputar cepet banget. di dunia FPS di game lainnya, mereka kalau misalkan udah menang udah menang 5 major berturut-turut, mereka bisa dalam waktu 1 bulan tahu-tahu dikalahin sama tim tier nomor 2 abis itu hilang. Itu secepat itu roda FPS berputar. Jadi ketika Masters Berlin ini dimulai, gue udah bilang, gue nggak kaget kalau Sentinels juara, tapi gue juga nggak kaget kalau Sentinels nggak keluar dari grup. Karena itu bisa banget terjadi di dunia FPS, roda berputar begitu cepat. Tapi ngelihat dari performa Sentinels, kayaknya mereka udah pasti keluar dari grup. Cuman untuk juara Masters Berlin, itu beda lagi ceritanya. Karena nanti playoff-nya itu single elim. Dan lu tahu sendiri, single elim itu luck factor juga main.
Yap, itu menurut gue untuk playoff sendiri itu udah a new chapter yang mungkin kita masih harus membuka lembaran-lembaran baru di buku yang kita buat di sini di Masters Berlin. Dan lagi-lagi kalau misalkan kita ngomongin soal region juga dari North America dan juga dari Eropa atau dari Korea, di sini kita ngelihat tim-tim yang udah berhasil lolos dan meng-secure ya istilahnya nge-secure posisi di quarter finals dan juga posisi di playoff sendiri adalah tim-tim asal North America gitu, Hunger Thieves dan juga Envious dan juga tim asal Korea yaitu Vision Strikers. Sedangkan belum ada tim asal region EMEA yang berhasil lolos ke playoff. Apalagi di grup A kita juga udah lihat tadi ada Asian yang akan bertemu dengan Supermassive Blaze. Jadi otomatis ini jumlahnya bakal lebih sedikit lagi untuk region dari EMEA sendiri karena mereka harus bertarung sesama region. Dan otomatis salah satu perwakilan dari region mereka akan pulang lebih awal dan tidak bisa bermain di quarter finals dari grup A sendiri. Dan juga harusnya mungkin safe to say dari grup D kayaknya yang bakal lolos juga dari G2 dan juga dari Sentinel. Melihat performa kedua tim ini yang benar-benar kuat. Sebenarnya dari G2 sendiri kayaknya udah confirm juga dia menjadi pemain berikutnya atau tim berikutnya yang berhasil lolos ke playoff. Sedangkan Sentinel dia harus masih bisa menunggu pertandingan yang melawan F4Q ataupun hari ini kalau misalkan menang lawan G2 kayaknya bisa dikonfirmasikan bahwa Sentinel akan bermain di playoff ataupun di quarter final. Jadi permasalahan di sini adalah ya antara kedua tim ini pertandingan ini akan menentukan siapa yang jadi seed pertama dari grup D.
Iya, mengelihat grup D menurut gue grup D adalah grup yang paling gampang ditebak ya kayak F4Q oke lah mereka bisa bikin wave tapi di Korea sempat ngalahin G2 satu map tapi gue nggak ngelihat mereka bisa keluar dari grup. Jelas kalau lu ngelihat grup D ini harusnya udah milik Sentinels dan juga G2. Justru emang grup A yang emang nggak bisa ketebak sama sekali, grup neraka banget. Vision Strikers bisa 2-0-in Ascent dengan cara yang sangat meyakinkan menurut gue. Sebenarnya gue cukup pede Vision Strikers bisa masuk ke playoff, tapi gue nggak nyangka akan secepat itu mereka konfirmasi spot mereka di playoff. Jadi playoff bakal menarik banget. Single elim itu apapun bisa terjadi. Gak ada kesempatan kedua lu bikin mistake itu bisa buat lu kalah keseluruhan series. Jadi only the best can play in the playoff dan kayaknya kita udah mendapatkan beberapa tim terbaik. Nampaknya dari pertandingan ini juga kelihatannya akan sudah terjawab siapa yang akan bermain nanti di fase playoff dari grup D. Tapi buat teman-teman yang ada di rumah sabar dulu karena kita masih menyiapkan pertandingan antara G2 dan juga Sentinels. Kalau lu lihat ya, gue senengnya pertandingan G2 dan Sentinels adalah kalau misalkan udah kelar, itu gue buka sosial medianya G2. Asli lucu banget, sumpah. Sosial media dari G2 tuh terbaik menurut gue. Kayak mereka bisa ngerosting timnya sendiri, mereka bisa ngerosting Sentinels walaupun mereka kalah, itu lucu banget. Jadi ya all in all it's just entertainment. Mereka juga kayaknya having fun. Gue yakin mereka juga kenal satu sama lain di luar stage. Mereka juga, ya mereka udah nginep di satu hotel yang sama kayaknya udah pasti ketemu juga. Jadi ya kalau misalkan kalian lihat banter-banter di atas panggung, menurut gue itu udah waktunya untuk dinikmati. Karena gue sendiri ngeliat kayak banter-banter lucu nih. Karena udah main mental juga di panggung internasional seperti ini.
Ya karena lu harus nikmatin sepenuhnya lah panggung LAN ya. Kapan lagi main LAN internasional di Berlin. Masa nggak nikmatin sih bumbu-bumbu tipis yang kayak gitu kan rasanya ya entertaining lah. Terutama kalau misalkan kita ngeliat juga di sosial media itu selain di officialnya itu yang gue tahu juga gue lumayan penikmat streamer ya, jadi gue suka nonton Twitch dan gue sempat ngeliat juga, jadi gue nonton Twitchnya Kaide, jadi Kaide itu bahkan nonton bareng sama CEO-nya Jitu, si Carlos, jadi mereka nonton bareng dan malah mereka saling roasting-roastingan, dan ketika masuk ke Haven, ini si Carlos ngelihat timnya kalah 8-0, terus di roasting, this team bla 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 bla, dia marah-marah sendiri, malah menang timnya ketika di roasting. Jadi itu benar-benar entertaining banget sih. Jadi ya kedua timnya aja santai, kenapa fans-fansnya harus perlu emosi gitu ya kan. Jadi ya emang menarik sih untuk Berlin sendiri dan juga event LAN seperti ini. Kemarin aja kayaknya gue juga sempat nonton yang streaming Inwich, itu casternya aja sampai merasa ini di belakang berisik banget ini G2 lawan Sentinel, mereka bener-bener berisik banget, mereka sampai ngakes di ruangan terpisah karena saking berisiknya dan saking serunya pertandingan tersebut.
Iya makanya gue pengen ngelihat banget pertandingan ini. Karena lagi-lagi EMEA versus NA itu selalu jadi perdebatan coy. Fanboy NA versus fanboy EMEA itu selalu clash. Tapi sampai sekarang kayaknya yang masuk gua tuh selalu fanboynya EMEA. Kita lihat aja apakah fanboy NA bisa dikirim masuk gua sama fanboy EMEA. Karena nampaknya opening sudah siap, langsung saja kita saksikan bersama-sama. Ini dia Sentinels versus G2.
Gotta love it as G2 and Sentinel step back. That's that checklist right there, that all-important checklist. But I think you bring up a great point about, again, the respect that exists between these players. Where from moment to moment, right? We can share that, we can have that respect as we step on stage, but as soon as we get behind the desks, we are fierce competitors, and we will let you know that every step of the way. The result goes the way it is, and respect is earned just again. All right, now let's restart that conversation around map select. We talked a little bit about it. I want to get you in on it, Doug, because I got Gio's thoughts a little bit, but if you were in that G2 spot right now, would you be looking back at Icebox as, hey, we got to go there, we can for sure get that win?
So I want to say yes 1,000%, but the thing is, and I know I touched on it earlier, but it's so difficult to beat a team twice, right? It's so difficult to beat a team twice on the same map too, exactly. So if there was a pocket pick, if there was something funny that you wanted to throw at him, especially going against Shazam with his prep and his note-taking, stuff like that, like some of that is lost, right? Like the allure of it initially is lost, and how do you do it again?
I mean, other than the Ascent ban, which Sentinels have done a couple times now and seem pretty clear that they don't want to play it, the only map they haven't played is Bind. So the question there is, did G2 go there?
Yeah, and you make a really good point, but you also wonder, with how the bans went and how the match went the first time around, you've got Split, Icebox, and Haven was the first time they danced, right? We know it's very likely we go back to Icebox. We know that G2 feel good on that map, so there's a good chance. Yeah, there's a good chance they want it. But I think, Dash, you mentioned it earlier, they have 2 picks this time.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
Right, so that might be the first one, and then of course they'll have the third map choice as well. But when you bring up Bind, it just, to me, it just again emphasizes how difficult it is to step onto a stage against the Sentinel squad, because they're sporting what, a 10-1 record on Bind?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not really, it's not really a win rate that you want to walk into. But like you say, we haven't seen them there yet, and I am generally a fan in series play across any esport to make teams prove it to you on stage. Fine, you have those statistics within your own region, but you haven't done it yet here at Masters Berlin. So I think that's not a bad idea as we see Breeze rather taken off the table by G2. I mean, after that Breeze performance, I mean, I would be terrified of that as well.
I would as well, and though, I mean, Ascent is going to be the second one that goes off as well. That's Sentinel's pick, so it does mean that Bind is still in.
Bind is still in, but Icebox is the play for G2. So again, indexing into the confidence that they built the first time around in taking that map, believing they can do it again, setting themselves up nicely to at least go the distance to that third map where they will have another choice. It's going to be Sentinels on defense to kick things off there.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is because of the way the map picks, are setting out, if you drop Icebox, you're in trouble.
Oh, then it might be doomed.
Right. I mean, you're in a world of hurt.
Well, and that's why I really like the defensive choice by Sentinels, because again, that's what to me says that Shaz has picked apart some of G2's strategies. We know how they like to execute now, and the setups might look very different on the defensive side. With Sentinels, I think to no surprise, picking up Split as map number 2.
And this is where that question that I spoke about earlier comes in, because they played the Viper against G2 before, but they didn't when they then played against F4Q. So which way are they going to go?
Yeah, I think it's the nice thing about them for Sentinels in that situation, though, Gio, is that they can flex both, right? Like, they've shown success with both. They know that they can do it either way. And honestly, for that, you've got G2 going, well, crap, what are they going to throw at us, right? Is the Viper going to be there? Is the Viper not going to be there? And, like, when you have so many different looks that you can study off of, it's almost too much.
The more and more we talk about it, the more happy I am that I'm not in that G2 coaching position, because I don't want to be responsible for making those choices. And map 3, we get that bind that you were talking about, Gio.
So I get it, because those who remember will remember Haven on the previous series. Tens basically just playing the op as a shotgun on A-Long. I would not want to go back to that, but bind is obviously a big question mark, because this is such a dominant map for Sentinels. You mentioned the 10-1 record, but specifically in the NA playoffs, they played it 3 times, won all of those. But that said, G2, while they've had a bit more of an up and down of late, you've got these players like Nuki, who's performed so well on the Rays recently, that there's still quite a lot that you can derive optimism for them.
I think the other thing that's difficult there is if you go bind, that's great. Sentinels have a 10-1 record. What are you going to do, though? You going to go Haven instead? Because we talked about that.
No better.
Right, like you're picking poison.
And that's why I like it. That's why I like it. You're trying something different. You're sticking to the one map that worked, and you're going somewhere else just to make Sentinels show you something different. But we should go ahead and refocus towards Icebox, as that will be the first map. And as we've said, having already played, we have a sense of what these teams want. My question is, should anything change when it comes to the agents on either side of the table?
I mean, I actually personally was fine with the agent selections they went with before. It was basically the same composition, except we had a Reina on the side of Sentinels and a Raze on the side of G2. Now, I think these represent what these two teams are happy with. The thing I'm going to be looking at is Kellogg's has shown improvements since that game. It's really him and his performance that's going to matter more to me than changing agents.
Got it. Honestly, my eyes, I know I mentioned it earlier, but my eyes are on Nukia, right? Like, he played well on Icebox. He had excellent first contact stats across the board. He played really well. He was applying pressure in the right places at the right time on the race specifically. So you almost need to have a similar performance there.
Well, and that's perhaps, as we mentioned, maybe the one agent change you look for is instead of splitting the duelists, Reina on one side and Raze on the other, maybe you do just go toe-to-toe with Tens. And you say, look, whichever one of us is having the better day is going to take the win.
That's not going to happen.
Never mind.
They
They disagree.
He's going to go into Raze.
Hey, it worked last time, right? So I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I don't see this really changing here. I mean, Kellogg's is definitely going to play Jet, and he can absolutely pull out something crazy, but no, it's going to be those same compositions.
There it is. So we get the run back here. We get the run back here on Icebox, Doug. It was, I'll remind people, a 13-8 last time around. The real question lies in what has Shaz figured out in those VOD reviews?
What has Shaz figured out, and what can G2 do as far as momentum? Right now, like, I think momentum's where it's at. Momentum's key. What happens if you play a world when this is a big ask, right? Because that assumes that Shaz can't download it in time. But what happens if you find yourself in a world where your hits are so fast and so aggressive and so hard, you know you're going to lose a couple, but you're hitting them so hard and so fast that there's just not enough time to download.
One thing that I would like to see is Sentinels just improve the way they deal with the flanks that G2 did. Dapper's flank watch was great, but then G2 would send a lot of reinforcements, and that would catch them out quite a bit.
All right, G2, they're taking a map. Can they get 2? Either way, it's got to start here on Icebox. Looking to take down the Titans in Sentinels. From here, we're going up to Mitch and Tom for the call.
Thank you so much, guys. Wow, am I excited to kick this one off, Tom.
Hell yeah.
This is set to be an exciting series, a rematch, of course, and you may bet your ass this is a game that these guys have been looking forward to all tournament long.
This is a game I've been looking forward to all tournament long. Like, we got to watch it the first time, and I was like, are we going to see G2 match up? Because that's always going to be the question when we see Sentinels. I know you've got the pink in your hair because you love Sentinels, Mitch. Like,
All right,
your
Tom.
favorite team.
On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
People are saying it looks a little bit red, but yeah.
Wow.
This is the squad that basically everybody is looking to beat. G2, they did relatively well last time. Now we get to see if they can maybe go a little further.
Yeah, as much as we love to sell the EUNA rivalry, we love to participate in the jokes. We love both of these teams. Watching Sentinels is always a pleasure, but Tom, now we get to cast them. And here on the defensive side of Icebox, they look to take down G2. It was a tough series last time around, but so far, they maintain that unbeatable record when it comes to international events.
Yeah, they did lose a map. It was this one last time. I think that was the one thing that we have to put out there is that if G2 are going to have a chance in this series, I think they need to take this map, and they've got off to a decent start. They managed to take down Dapper. A couple of players already rotated in. It's early in the day. But they're going to get themselves the after plant, and more importantly, the wall has kept them safe.
The players have had their warm-ups. You can
Yeah, I
see
need
that
one too.
But surely, this is where Sentinels start to mount that comeback quite quickly into the site. Sick, wanting to move through the wall. Doesn't want to overextend. Nukia already picking up Shazam. This becomes so difficult for Sentinels to hold on. Hey, G2 just keep on coming. With only one player taken down, this pistol is so close to flawless to kick off Icebox.
Yeah, really solid start for G2. I think that's always going to be important, especially when we talk about Kellogg's as an individual player. Like, he's someone that thrives off of these battles in the early stages. If he can get rolling, maybe we can see a battle where he actually puts himself to the forefront of this team, because that's the main thing. Like, when we look towards someone like TenZ, well, I think he's currently the second highest rated player in the entire tournament. I think he's had the best map so far in the entire tournament. So we have to go and say that we expect TenZ to show up throughout this series. Kellogg's has always been a question mark. Now, he's had a good tournament so far, had some really solid matches, but he needs to be on his best form here today if they're going to compete.
Yeah, there's no room for error. There's no room to be a little bit more relaxed. For G2, they need every single player to show up, and it does definitely start by looking at that head-to-head between Kellogg's and TenZ, or Shazam, considering the last time we saw Sentinels play, he had a couple of good maps as well.
Yeah, for sure. That's some unbelievable stats. And I think, especially when you look at the defensive side of this map in particular, that A side basically comes down to the TenZ and Shazam show. These aggressive pushes, these battles deep into A. And that's why you're going to see these slow rounds out from G2. These defaults held to make sure that they're not losing too much map control. And in fact, in this one, Sentinels have actually gambled into the A site. And unfortunately for them, G2 are going B.
Yeah, G2 are going to get a nice open site to walk on into. Should be nice and clean and getting the plant down and retaking him with classics and your odd Sheriff. Won't exactly be ideal, but you don't want to discount TenZ. And winning the round is not what Sentinels are looking for. Obviously, they'll take it if it comes their way, but for the most part, they're looking to do damage and drop weapons. Now, G2 have Nukia watching the flank with a pistol in hand. Him going down would be the biggest of deals. He's got Coldamenta here to help him just to make sure that they don't give away any unnecessary. Necessary advantages, great nades, satchel to pursue as well, but you don't want to get too aggressive here, Tom. That could play right in walking out, and that saves so much reinvestment coming into this round here.
Yeah, it means they could, in fact, maybe invest into a rifle alongside all the SMGs that they currently have. It depends how they actually want to play the bonus. Also, in terms of ultimates, there's not really going to be anything here that can actually boost them into this round, like the Blade Storm 3 away. Like, by that point, you almost look at the round and go, well, you kind of done a lot there. Do you want to invest it anyway? Now, for the other side of things, this is where we get the purchases for Sentinels, though. And likelihood is they're going to be able to take a little bit more space in this sort of round and make sure that, well, basically, they don't have too many casualties.
Well, exactly. This is the bonus round for G2. They haven't had to invest into anything bar the armor or the shields up on Coldamenta. He got dropped over as Sheriff, of course. So they'll be looking to just come out of here with a couple of scalps. You can see how passive Sentinels are taking it towards the extremities, but around middle, they are looking to get aggressive. Sick started to push down through the tube, and we saw that Tens was getting a little bit itchy to move forward as well, but they decide against it with a minute left, realizing this isn't a full B commitment, that there's still players outside the A site, and they'll just tuck in and wait to take those ranged fights.
Yeah, it almost looks like they're playing a bit more of a retake on B as well. So they have this deep control from Sajam. Of course, he is going to be able to just dash out of there, and especially after being tagged. I'm actually quite surprised he's sticking around. If over, it's going to pick him off, leave a weapon in the backline. And Kellogg's has just found another onto Dapper. This bonus is looking incredible. They need 10s to go huge. Luckily for him, he is, well, I was going to say he's going to be able to dismiss, but Nuki already behind him.
Yeah, he caught him, got right up in his face as he came out and dismissed, and what was a very weak round for G2. Spectres for the most part, a Marshall and a Sheriff, and they've only lost a pistol yet again. But Zom's desperately trying to pull this one back. He'll go down, and that is the freest round for G2, because as I said, Coldamenta came in with a Sheriff. Him dying means nothing. The rest of the team get free upgrades over to your Phantoms, your Vandals. And I don't mind Shazam going out because he tried to catch really good timing. As he was being pinged up, he gets pinged the first time, and they'll think, okay, he's going to run back. He tries to swing out, obviously with the intention of, oh, I've got the dash if I need to use it up, and well, he got taken down before he could even get to his keyboard.
The only thing there is it just feels like, maybe in a buy round I'd agree. I just think it's the risk when you have a rifle that it just seemed a little bit more peculiar with G2 being able to almost just stack up against him.
Stop them getting close at the same time, though. You know, those Spectres, 3 of them come running around the corner. And you'll notice he's not quite playing as aggressive as he did before. Maybe a little bit scared of running into Nukia. 10 certainly should have been, because he has been shut down to start. Dapper pops off the Hunter's Fury. Very little found, but Kellogg's so close to death. 26 HP as he dashes on out. And they've already burned up their heals, so it's going to be a while before he gets back up to full.
Yeah, although Tens has gone down, they still have this bait and switch. You can see Sick has gone into a far more aggressive position than what we've seen before. It does seem like Tens has started to be predicted quite often now by the side of G2, but with Mixwell falling, there seems like a chance, but Nukia's just on one today. Sick, as said, he's in a prime position to do a fair amount of damage, but now the showstopper comes through and catches him on the edge of the wall, leaving just 2 men standing for the side of Sentinels.
So well played so far by G2 in a 4v2 yet again. Dapper and Zoms, we've seen it so many times, but here's a successful start. Zoms left in the 1v3. Kellogg still low, but he has that operator and he has the angle. 7-0, a dominant start for the EMEA side. And this is not something that I think anyone would have seen coming. Shazam, having 2 operators bought up, is still to get on the board.
I feel like Tens' stats are about to be ruined. Like, he's been averaging, I think over 300 ACS for the entirety of the tournament so far. He's also down the boat. This is weird. Like, I feel oddly uncomfortable watching G2 do this well. And not because it's like, oh, G2 hate or anything like that, but just because they're against Sentinels.
We saw the adaptations. Oh, Shazam already down a couple of knives. What's he got, 2 left to work with? It's going to be a little bit tough now for him. That ultimate needs to connect a headshot to refresh. Now, what I wanted to say was G2 versus F4Q. You saw the adaptations they made.
Yeah.
They worked so hard on improving their game. And so far, it's been working out for them in this series as well. Shazam connects the Coldamenta, though. That's the pick that they needed. He's got all the blades back up. And that's the difference maker in a round like this, where they don't even have a rifle to play around.
Kellogg's already taking a lot of map control. I think Dapper will have heard him, so he's going to be wary of his flank and, maybe not expecting Kellogg's to be that far forward. Sick needs to get something done, but he's going to hear the remaining players walking away. This could be a pretty big moment for him, but Mixwell's in the spawn. He's just sat all the way back, just ratting it as far as he can, and now they're going to try and put some pressure onto Zoms. Now, he popped his ultimate at the beginning of the round. Shazam will close out the lurk, but he needs to get something done here. Luckily, this weapon at close range, it can work.
30 seconds left as they dive on in, but they've already bypassed him. Going up above as well. The site is now theirs. The res on a Dapper might not mean much if Zoms goes down, and he will. Walking out of the Viper's pit and being dropped straight away. Man advantage no longer in their favor. Shazam wants to get the opening, but does he know that right up above is Mixwell, waiting to catch Dapper as he comes on through. There's the kill for Shazam, and Sick manages to save his life. Now they should have their first round, unless Nukia has got something to say about it, and he doesn't. Welcome to the scoreboard as Sentinels hit 1.
It took them quite a bit of time, and definitely one of the shakier rounds that we've seen for G2. Players being caught off here and there, but some solid kills coming through in the retake. And of course, well, Shazam, it didn't take too long for him to move up the scoreboard, at least a little bit on that jet.
Yeah, I mean, there weren't many... wasn't much of a lead to catch up on, let's say it that way. The fact that Mixwell, a little bit too slow. He was waiting for Dapper to walk on through. He was hearing the shots out of that frenzy. And that small gap that was left open for them to walk out the door, they grab the kill to Avova. They overrun the site. That's what we needed to see from Sentinels. That was on a weak bind now, and a big difference maker was the fact that Kellogg's played so aggressive. He was starting to ego them. I mean, with 7 rounds, you can't really blame him, but now we need to see that come through again. We need to see Sentinels make it work when G2 aren't playing overconfident now that they've lost a round.
Oh, just as Shazam goes to push, he's going to be held back by a snake bite. They're doing well to deny pretty much all of the aggression of Sentinels so far. That's one of the things I've been really impressed with for G2. Now the drone, not really going to find anything, so this gives that extra space for Shazam to move a little bit further forward and cut off rotations, but this time it's looking like G2 might just pick up the pace.
It certainly does. Nukia's watching for the flank play, holding it down, but might be caught on the cross, and he'll be on his way because Sick has already been taken down, but there it is. Shazam trading it back, taking out the star player for G2 in this map so far. That could be a huge blow to the attacking side, but they have got the spike planted. Time is on their side. And as it ticks away ever faster, Sentinels need to make this B retake work. It hasn't been successful for them so far, but they haven't had this kind of weaponry in the past.
This is the Avova spot. This is one of those positions where he sticks in all the time. Tens on a late flank, he's been spotted. They're expecting him now, but could act as a bit of a distraction. And quickly, Sentinels just dropped 3 players. It's left all onto Mixwell, and his burst through the screen is not going to achieve anything. Another solid retake from Sen, and it seems like they found their footing.
This is where G2 might get a little bit worried, you know? Sentinels breathing life back into their game. Tens activated in that little 2-piece that he found towards B long. Now, you notice that G2 had the Viper's Pit online for a couple of rounds. They had the A and B site and didn't use it there to secure the round and ended up losing them subsequently. I think at this point, they're going to start to reassess this. A little bit of back and forth by the boys. Sentinels getting their chance to return. I like it. But this is where G2 need to reassess things. Still yet to see a pause come out, which I'm quite surprised considering how things have been going.
Well, for now at least. Both sides still with the purchase in play. Again, they're going to be waiting outside B just for any sort of aggression, and mid, again, is going to be the main hold, at least in the early stages of the round. Maybe expecting that pace change once again from G2, like trying to go for something into mid, because most of the time it's been slow defaults, fighting the extremities, giving space to Nuke to look for our openers. He's going to be spotted by the drone. He's got to be careful, because Tens is on the hunt.
He's backing off now, but Tens seizes the space right away. Not going to pursue too far. It's over towards this B site that you start to get worried. But Zom's in position behind Yellow. He can be isolated. The cross is being watched by Shazam, but there's no way they'll go across without a Viper wall down. In fact, it looks like there's no way they'll go across at all. G2 start to relocate. Moving towards the spawn, and it looks like they want to late exec into the A site.
They're going to try and send... Well, it seemed like they were going to send Mixwell through mid. Instead, he's going to double back with the rest of the team. You can see Sentinels have the right idea. Already rotating Dapper through. The remaining players also going to make their move. And as the screen goes down, it looks to try and section the site in 2. But G2, they don't have a lot of time here, and they've given Dapper a slight angle.
Oh, the Boombot gives away his position. He's being blast-packed, but somehow he's able to get a kill from that position. Still alive now as Sentinels gain the man advantage, and there's so little time left. G2 are just being poked and pressured, and by the looks of it, taken down. Avova somehow able to stay alive. He's getting the spike planted. Kellogg's has come in with 2, and all of a sudden, it's down to Sick. He has to clutch this one out. No idea where Avova might have gone. The wrap could be in play, and he's about to get peeked out by Kellogg's on the op. This is so tough. He needs an opportunity to take a duel and a close shot, but a whiff. Now as the time ticks away, Sick is taken down easily. They reposition, they relocate, and put an 8th on the board. G2 doing a fantastic job of bouncing back.
And this is a phrase I never thought I'd say, but Sentinels are being out-clutched. Like that's what we're currently witnessing. Normally they're the team to win these 2v4s, 3v4s, 2v1s, whatever you name it. They're the ones to come out on top, and Kellogg's, he is on form. I mentioned him at the beginning of the series. Like, if they're going to have a good game, if they're going to be able to challenge versus the previous champions, this man needs to be on form. And, well, boy, is he on form.
Fair to say. It absolutely is. You look at that situation, I mean, there was no way in my mind that that went G2's way.
No.
4v2, lockdown, 10 seconds left. They surely couldn't have gotten the spike planted, and somehow Avova maneuvers around. His timing is perfect.
He gets a kill while planting it the first time.
Absolutely, and then just about manages to evade Sick's position, his sightlines, as he moves around the side, gets the spike planted. Kellogg's with a double kill that stopped them from pushing down and killing Avova. Like, every piece of that puzzle came together perfectly for G2. That's the kind of round that happens 1 in 100 times.
Well, now we have to see how Sentinels are going to break back from it, because I think the last time we witnessed this map, it was an 8-4 attacking side half for G2. That was enough for them to get it over the line, even though we can sometimes see those attacking comebacks. I feel like Sentinels, at a minimum, need the 4. Like, realistically, it's still not going to be the best of halves for them, but there would still at least be a possibility. Say, for example, they lost the pistol, but at this stage, well, there hasn't been consistency from them. It was a couple of rounds, both in terms of retakes, like their actual holds of the site haven't been exactly going well. This time as well, they even had some sneaky angles behind the utility of G2, which caught G2, and they still lost it.
No. we all know Hypok loves to see those retakes get started, but he hasn't seen them at all so far for Sentinels. You know, you've had those 2 rounds that came through, but losing out, I think, arguably more than we've seen them up till now.
Oh, does Tens hear the footsteps?
I think he did. I
Yeah.
think he might just about have caught them. Shazam's ready with the operator for a quick kill, and he's not even the point man on this round. He'll take first contact, but now it's all about buying time for Tens' flank. And the question is, does anyone on G2 look back towards their spawn? And for now, the answer is definitively no.
And they've also stacked up the remaining players. There's even one watching into mid just to try and hold off the flank. This is being perfectly played at the moment by Sentinels. They have them trapped, and G2 have to try and fight out. Mixer, though, has been able to find one. And this could give them at least a little bit of space. The problem, though, is the spike is currently dropped all the way back towards 10. So he's called for that little bit of extra support. Shazam, though, he misses his shot.
Yeah, he's going to be tagged up massively. Has to be so cautious about any future fights that he wants to take. Waiting for his teammates to rotate into position for G2.
30 seconds left.
Moving around to grab that spike's going to be pretty tough, and Nukin knows that he's about to run into a couple of players. Tens shutting him down. A 3rd kill for that man in this round, and that pretty much cements the save for G2. If Mixwell finds an opportunity right away, sure, maybe they go for it, but instead he runs right into the operator of Sentinels. It is 8-3, and sure, it's been an abysmal half for Sentinels, but if they find this one, there's still hope.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we've actually seen Tens pop off as well. So that in itself could be a difference maker. Like the first time, I think the G2 haven't caught him as he tried to get a little bit aggressive. We saw in a lot of the early rounds, like there was the Pipes position that he just got killed, I think, 3 or 4 times
He went
in
to
a
8
row.
rounds without a kill in total this half, so that's...
It's been rough,
bizarre.
that's for sure, but the fact that he's now found that 4K, that's more of a danger to me than anything else.
Yeah, most definitely. That is 2K before. It was clean. You saw his aim get warmed up, and now coming in with 4. This is where Tens becomes revitalized. Shazam, operator in hand. This is another shot, and Zombs goes down. The B site under threat. Sick has rotated in, so Shazam, tries to get back, but he's caught on the cross. Sick left waiting in the sidelines. No res in play for them coming into this final round, and Kellogg's, he's forced back. He can't cover the plant, but we will have a Viper's Pit activated. That will buy them some space, but if Dapper can manage to find Mixwell here and grab a tag, that could have been huge. But instead, they're using it as a fake. They're running away towards the A site, just leaving Kellogg's here with a Bulldog in hand. He's going to try to shut these guys down.
Oh, this is just the biggest bait of all time.
They've
They've actually watched in mid as well. They think that there's going to be players. The only problem here could be that they actually get caught from behind. Nukia, he's going back! Tens is like, I must be going towards the B site. Sentinels are completely lost in this round, and now he's going to go running through the spawn, and Nukia's just waiting for him. This is glorious from G2, leaving just Dapper standing to try and pull off a ludicrous clutch.
And he will not even get a moment to think about that. Mixwell shutting him down, 3rd kill of the round, and it's 9-3. Sentinels completely blindsided, assuming that it was about to be a mid-split into the B site, and they found out the hard way that it certainly wasn't.
No, I actually can't believe what we've just witnessed in this half. It's one of those matches where you think that realistically it's going to be back and forth, and sure, G2 managed to take it last time, but, well, we got another half to go, I guess.
Yes, we do, and you know what? I think Sentinels are going to need a breather after that one. Maybe we do too. Let's toss it over to the desk to get some of their opinions on how this one's been going.
Thank you very much, gents. It's looking mighty familiar to the last time around, and in fact, G2 will just do us one better there, Doug. A 9-3 half compared to an 8-4 the last time they were on the attacking side of Icebox against Sentinels.
Almost like there's like a glitch in the Matrix, right? It's like we've been here before, but you're right, just slightly better.
They got the script from the other day and they mixed it up with the one that was supposed to be for today's games.
And then somebody came running on stage like, you can't repeat it. You got to do something different.
Our producer's gonna be like, okay, guys, just come on, pretend like we gotta.
Just eke out one more. But I love the way in which it's happening so far, Doug, because it's very much the way we were hoping it would. And in fact, this is our Verizon high-speed moment of the day because it comes from Nukia. It's 7 rounds straight for G2. Him leading the charge with the kind of speed and aggression we thought would be the difference maker.
Well, and we talked about how for G2 it kind of feels like their win condition has to be momentum. They win the bonus in the first half. They're able to rattle that off to a 7-0 start. And Nukia, 7-0-3 by round 6. He had 10's number number on A for what felt like an eternity.
And it also just really felt like G2 had so much vigilance in this first half of the game, you know? Like, even all the way back to round number 2 on their anti-eco, they had really good positions to watch for a flank that would come in from Sentinels, which they did try to do, not very successfully. Every time they tried to burst into the A site, there was always so much support on what it was that Nuclear was doing. You had Kellogg's kind of coming up from behind, Nuclear going in at the front. You know, there were a couple of moments like Dapper managing to survive behind that Viper's wall.
What the heck was that?
I don't really know what that was. And I think once Sentinels actually started to get a handle on their economy, that's where they put in a couple of rounds. We saw Tens have a couple of good rounds, but for the most part, the vigilance from G2 was incredibly good.
But now, Doug, it's about wrapping it up, right? You can't rest on your laurels. You still got to get 4 more rounds to bring you to 13 and take it. Do you think they can wrap it up in clean fashion here on the back half?
I do, but it's going to have to be clean, right? Like, you can't afford any mistakes. You give Sentinels an inch, they'll take the whole damn mile.
All right, don't give them any breathing room, G2, if you want to take this map number 1. Mitch and Tom, right back to you to get us into the action.
Well, we're ready to jump back into half number 2, and let's hope that there's plenty for Sentinels to do. They have 3 rounds on the board coming out of the first, and you know what? We talk a lot about the 9-3 curse. Maybe G2 have done themselves in on this one.
Yeah, Vansili has been trying his best.
Yeah.
He's been praying to anyone he can to try and get Sentinels back into this map. So we'll see. Maybe he has managed to jinx G2, in which case, well, just get him. If that's okay.
Get after him.
You might be ruining our series at that point.
Well, Pistol certainly hasn't started out poorly. They've managed to take down Tens yet again, shutting him down in the early half of the previous map and doing just the same here in the Pistol. Sentinels are gearing up for a B take. Their wall is going to be going up in just a second. There you go. Yeah, the Poison Orb fades. They pop up their wall. They close in the distance. And now it's popped that wall up to get a plant. Oh, Sick is going all the way through. Of course, he doesn't have the ice wall to play with, so they need to be a bit more aggressive than you'd normally expect. And it works out to take Nukia down, but the Shock Dart returns the kill.
Still behind the screen. I think Mixwell's expected them to be a little bit further forward. So just waiting for the screen to go down to give them that little bit of extra space. They'll pop theirs back up, but it seems like G2 at the moment is still just looking back towards the A side, just in case there's been that fallout, that fallback. It's still going to be a pretty awkward spot. One being spotted will allow Kellogg's to try and reposition and take the battle, but Shazam has taken out Mixwell.
That's huge. Viper utility for retake taken out, but so is Shazam. It keeps on trading back in G2's favor. Sentinels need a big play, and with Zom's on 2 health, he's going to struggle to get anything done. Sick has to be the clutch man of the round. A 1v2, 10 seconds left, and very little that he can get done. Double digits hit by G2 as they hit 10-3.
I can't believe what I'm watching. We have literally gone for a team not losing a single map at the last LAN event to potentially losing back-to-back iceboxes versus G2, and in a fashion that we never expected.
And you know what, Kellogg's, a player that we highlighted to start this out, we said, you know, his battle versus Tens, maybe even his battle versus Shazam, he's got 18 kills coming out of that pistol round. That is phenomenal. And for a young player who had a lot of question marks around his name coming into this event, coming into this team, in fact, before we even get to Masters, he is delivering exactly what everybody hoped he would.
Sure, and in fact, we're actually going to see a force spike coming out of Sen. I think they've realized that at this stage of the map, they need to get in and they need to get back into it now. Fast push coming in on towards the A side. Spike actually leading the charge. It could be dropped, but instead, Sick will win himself the duel.
A lot bought up for Sentinels, and they're looking to get the value out of it. Plans coming through. Avova has the flank, but it's being watched. Tens not able to connect Avova, even predicting the position correctly. Dapper up above, but we slow down, and Nukia's picking up doubles on the site. This is falling apart for Sentinels, an absolute disaster. Zombs tries to step it up, but he's so low he'll be dealt with easily, as will Dapper, and this is 11 for G2. Despite investment coming out of Sentinels, they get nothing done again. A spike plant, but at 11-3, that does not matter.
No, G2 are looking very composed. I think this is one of the things that we have to talk about when this roster, if you go back to even the early challenges before we even get to EMEA, there were moments where they looked like they were in the driver's seat and they crumbled. They would give away jewels. They would lose fights in certain positions and rounds would slip away from them. Instead, they lose the opening pick here. Do they panic? Do they like make aggressive mistakes? No, they look like they come back in as a unit and well, it was a perfect retake. They only lost one man after that point.
You know what? It's pretty easy to be comfortable when you're 10-3 up, and now 11-3 kind of only gets worse. Look at what Sentinels have to play with in this round. They've gone for another full buy. Of course they have, but it's with Spectres, a Guardian, and another Spectre on Zombs. It's a little bit shaky, to say the least. They're going to try to isolate these close-range angles on the A side. There are Viper walls absolutely everywhere, but that gives Sentinels the ability to close in on the site.
Yeah, their weaponry does slightly favor them over what we're currently seeing with no ultimates online. If Kellogg's maybe gets himself a kill, well, actually, no, he's picked up the orb, so he will have his Blade Storm. It's going to be down to that battle of the flank. If he falls, I feel like this round looks very unlikely, but if he can get rid of Dapper, there's a good chance.
Still no plan, just a constant harassment of utility coming towards Sentinels. They managed to trade it back and keep the man advantage out of the hands of G2, but only for a moment. Shazam, the last alive, hunted down by Kellogg's to put it 12-3. This is an absolute disaster of a map to kick off the series for Sentinels. Zombs, I mean, you can't even point at him. The whole team has been struggling, and I think that guy had to retake the A site like the first 6 rounds, 7 rounds in a row. He was in a 1v4, so I'm not even gonna go there. The reality is G2 are just playing a better game. They're outclassing Sentinels on Icebox.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It sets us up for a series and a half, that's for sure, with Sentinels having to fight from a deficit. For now, at least, they're looking for a streak of 9 rounds in a row. I can't say I'm feeling too confident in it. They have managed to spot out Kellogg's in a pretty audacious spot. The ice will use to give him the boost over the top, and he's not going to be able to find the early pick. Sick will also get his res online, so at least an ultimate to play with. And actually, Shazam, if he can get the one on the other side, he'll be looking at his Blade Storm.
Well, it starts out poorly with Dapper going down. That operator on range taking the kill. Mixwell